video is sponsored by this video is sponsored by Good and Gather Helmets. I put the trickers on the list.
Okay. Hey guys, welcome back. It's your girl Brina.
And this is Tasha.
And this is Us on Reality. Today we're going to be talking about Ready to Love, Season 7, Episode 9, Bro Code Broken. And we'll get into that bro code. This week, everybody went off on a vacation. I don't know where they are. It looked like some swampland. Very interesting on how they got there. I loved seeing everybody paired up in the car on the way there.
I did too.
We're going to just do a brief intro of everybody on their way there, and then we'll switch over to their time at the cabin. Whose car ride did you enjoy the most?
Oh my God. I don't think I can choose.
I was surprised to see Morgan and Jeffrey in the car together because those energies don't match to me.
Me too, but they blend so well.
They did.
I enjoyed seeing them in the car together. That made me so happy.
Yeah, they did.
It felt like a girls' trip. It was nice to see Morgan without all that makeup on.
Yeah.
Like a lot of the girls, and Cynthia, like they were chilled. They didn't really have too much makeup on.
I loved it. They all look beautiful. They're all beautiful women.
I don't think I can choose which car ride I liked the most.
Okay, let me say this. So let's see if we got them all. It was Morgan and Jeffrey in the car together. And then it was Andre driving with Cynthia Shoddy. And then Mark Anthony and Mercedes in the back seat. And they just looked like a high school couple. Like they were just all like, they were so cute. And then the third car was with Anthony.
Why? Anthony, Tony, and Lyndon. Why are y'all right together?
Tony? Look, the whole time I was like, bro, why are you in this car?
Why was he in the car?
Did Blake and Sue-Ann come together? I don't remember where they were.
We didn't see them in the car, did we?
So I just thought it was interesting, just like you said, that Tony was in the car with Lyndon, and then Mark Anthony and Mercedes were like high school sweethearts, and then Morgan and Jeffrey were cute together. That's my takeaway from them on the way there.
They were. I thought it was very cute.
So then they get there, and Tommy rides up on that swamp mobile. What is that thing called?
The airboat.
Sure. Swamp mobile.
I wanted to ride one of those when we were in New Orleans.
Why? It's dirty, and I know it stinks.
Well, maybe, but I wanted to ride.
No, not maybe.
You're probably right.
Is that a problem to it? It's, it stinks.
I wanted to ride it. And Joseph was like, you go ahead. Somebody got to be here to take care of the kids. Like, I was going to go die.
Tommy rides up, and he gives them the big announcement, and so they jump on this. So here, we can just start diving in to everybody's connection. So we'll start with Tony. Tony jumps in the back. Tony wouldn't like the fact that Lyndon jumped up there, but I was like, why didn't he?
Yeah, there was plenty of room. It looked like there was still room for somebody else.
It was just the two of them up there. Tony looked like he was shoved in the back row with like four people deep back there. And it's like, why didn't you get up here? It's not like you were trying to sit by one of your other connections.
No.
So when they got on that thing, Lyndon jumped by Morgan. Cynthia was next to Anthony. Jeffrey was next to Andre. Mercedes and Mark Anthony were next to each other. And I guess Sue-Ann and Blake were next to each other. To be honest, I haven't a clue. I don't know when they showed up.
Were they on
it again? That's what I just thought.
They were on the airboat because I remember Sue-Ann started screaming before it even took off. And I was like, what in the heck? Lola.
The thing that I thought was cute is that Mercedes was like, my eyelashes were going to come out. She was like this.
That's real life.
It is. Yeah, so Tony, he could have jumped up there in the front with Morgan. He's sitting in the back. He looked pissed off driving there the whole time. And then they get there and they're looking for rooms. And I thought that was super cute. I loved how Mercedes was like, y'all ready? go. And then like she just took off. I thought that was so cute.
Tony did say in the car ride that he predicted a bad thing to happen. Do you remember him saying that?
I don't remember that.
And then Lyndon said, you said that with so much, I don't know, not affirmation. What is it? You said that with so much like
conviction?
Like you're so sure. Because Anthony was asking.
Confidence, assurance?
Confidence. Because Anthony was asking like, what do you guys think is going to happen with us being in the house with all these people we have different, connections with? And Tony was saying, I don't think it's going to be good. I think there's going to be something bad that happens for real.
Well,
you just said
yeah.
You just said.
We'll get into Tony. So that is that's really good foreshadowing. I did not remember that part. Now hearing you say it though, I'm like, yeah, that's just foreshadowing, because we will fully discuss Tony, and yeah, he's the thing that happened and he could have prevented it. So Tony and Lyndon, both of you only like Morgan. So obviously this is going to be a situation. And I don't remember what happened before, so we'll just jump to the part where they were playing pool for her. So for her heart.
That was Lyndon. But Tony wanted to play for where she's going to sleep that night.
So here's the thing. Tony started drinking, and I don't know if I ever saw Tony without a drink. And from that, I was like, this isn't going to be good. Because you already look angry and riled up all the time anyway. And like little pit bull, like on the prowl. And I'm like, and now you over here drinking? Like, no, not a pit bull, like a little English bulldog. So I'm like, you better just be like, so I was just like, this ain't good.
I feel like that's his normal, like, demeanor.
Yeah. And now we've given him alcohol.
I like
it. So yeah, Lyndon's like, at first I felt like Lyndon was just kind of be funny, because Lyndon seems like a more laid back, casual guy. So he's like, oh, let's play for Morgan's heart, like being funny, but also probably not. And then Tony is possessive. So he's like, we're going to play for where she going to sleep tonight. And Mercedes sitting over there on the bike. I was like, girl, what you doing?
Hey, you really even riding that bike? You over there playing. What are you doing?
She is playing.
Make up some calories so she can drink more.
Okay, and I ain't mad at her. So then Morgan, like, so happens to walk in there. What are y'all doing? And then Mercedes said, girl, they playing for you, And she's like, oh my gosh. And then Tony's like, we're playing for who you gonna spend the night with. And then she falls out on the floor like, I can't believe this. I was like, girl, you eating this up. You eating all this up.
Like I'm eating this hummus.
Okay. All right. So then Tony wins, and him and Morgan walk off together. And Lyndon was like, yeah, he won her honor for like 5 minutes.
Right.
So, because I mean, really, what's he going to do? Not try to press up on his one love interest? No, that's dumb. He's not going to just back off. Then Tony and Morgan walk off. They're doing their whole thing. The next big thing that I remember happening with them, and correct me if I'm missing something, Morgan and Jeffrey are sitting there talking, and Jeffrey's like, this is hard, because, and kind of like they were following up from their conversation in the car. Like, she was like, I have two different guys. And I thought it was interesting that they both said, I have two different men, the one that I want and the one that I need.
I think that Jeffrey and Mark Anthony just have probably a lot of physical attraction.
I see that. So Tony comes in on their conversation, and he's telling Jeffrey, just like, take your time, like you can figure it out. Just like, this is the process that we're in. And he's very reassuring to her, to where Morgan gets upset because she was like, you're not so reassuring to me. You keep getting mad at me that I'm trying to figure out things between you and Lyndon. Do you remember what Tony said to that?
But he said something about, you don't know how to shut him down or something. Like he keeps making advances and you're not shutting.
I thought he said something that was like alluding to the fact that like she doesn't really like him. She's just like playing nice with Lyndon.
Yeah. He did say something to that effect. He definitely did.
Yeah. So then Tony was being a hothead, and I think Morgan even called him out and said, I think Morgan even called him out and said he was being a hothead. It was like scolding him. I was like, Morgan, you just acted the same way on the date with his friend.
Yes. These people are the same person.
I feel like they're just like perfect for each other. And also, like you said, it could be toxic. Like, why is it okay for you, but he can't do it?
Girl, I don't understand those two. They're like kids. What is wrong with you?
The next big thing is when they're sitting at the table, right? Or no, before that, they had like lunch or they had some meal before that big dinner towards the end. And Tony was really insistent about having Morgan come sit next to him. And so she did. And then Lyndon comes and sits next to her. He wasn't hanging over her. I don't think he was being intrusive. He just sat down. Tony got pissed and walks off like a pouting child. And Morgan chases after him. Do you remember what did she say to him?
He said, yeah, it was something like that, but she used a different word that it was off-putting to him. You need to act like you have home training or something like that.
But act like I have home training. He was like, what's she talking about?
Yeah, he was offended by that.
I think that she rubs him wrong a lot, but he just keeps pushing. So he's getting mad and still drinking and gets mad at Lyndon. Here we go to the dinner and the big blowout. And Lyndon was instigating this. He was like, if Marcia was still here, who would you pick? Would you tell me you said earlier? Well, what about this? And I was like, Lyndon, this is not the place.
Well, I'm trying to think how it even got to this level.
I feel like Tony probably had been being rude to Lyndon all day, but for some reason also disclosed this information to Lyndon, so Lyndon had it to use. And so he started poking the bear.
What did Lyndon originally ask Tony? Reason why he went then and asking him, well, does it make you feel some type of way that I've kissed Morgan so many times and you haven't kissed her at all? What did Lyndon ask him that made him go to that? No, he was asking Tony because that's what Tony was like. You keep asking me questions. Let me ask you something.
And I hate that I didn't write it down, but Lyndon was asking, he was asking pointed questions. And it wasn't something as casual as, well, how do you think about this? Like he was asking Tony very direct, very pointed questions, which then led Tony to saying, how do you feel about the fact that, you know, I've kissed Morgan 6-7 times and you haven't gotten any kisses?
Then Lyndon replies, well, didn't you say to me if Marcia was even still here, I could have Morgan? And that was like the shock of the table. And when Lyndon asked him, like, didn't you say that? He was like, yeah, I said it. But he's trying to say that he said it in a different context. I can't find a context where that's okay. And this is the only part of me that kind of was like, okay, maybe he said something about he was getting irritated with how much time she was spending with Lyndon. And so just to kind of be like snarky and say something back, I think, off camera, he said, well, if Marcia was here, you could have her. But still, you're trying to build a connection with this girl. You can't just say things like that. Even if it is what he was kept saying, this is just men speak. I don't want a man that says something that he don't mean.
And saying he was just saying, oh, that's just men speak. You know, sometimes men say, Morgan won't understand you because she's not a man. Why are you excusing your bad behavior? And from that, I was just like, Morgan, girl, you don't want this. It's one thing for him to be hot-headed. It's one thing for him, y'all like play off of each other's energy. Well, like, you better do this. You know, like they kind of say these things that are very demanding, but they're kind of like smiling when they're saying it. And they both seem to be engaging in it. But whenever he was just like, she doesn't get it because she's not a man, I was like, oh, he's going to do a lot of stuff and try to act and try to write it off because he's a man and that's what men do. And I was like, Morgan, you don't want that. You don't want none of that.
I thought it was very smart that Cynthia told her you need to pay attention to how somebody treats you when they're mad.
Yep. That is a good point because you're going to get mad. That's the facts of life. You're going to experience a lot of range of emotions. And if your excuse for your behavior is I was upset or I was mad or I was da 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 with no apology,
Yeah.
you think you have a license to disrespect me.
And you want the person to understand why they're disrespecting you and think that it's okay. It's not.
So right there, I was like, Tony, you know, I always thought you were a little hothead, little, like I said, little English bulldog. But that right there, I was like, oh, you're a little dangerous. Like, that's not okay.
Lyndon came to her pretty fast after that situation, I felt.
He did, and I appreciated that.
Yep, and I felt that he carried himself very well throughout the whole thing. I don't think he was ever trying to start something on that level. I don't think he was trying to do that. I think
doesn't seem like Lyndon's personality. I feel like Lyndon was upset for the way Tony was acting. He probably was upset that Morgan, his interest, likes this person.
Yeah.
And then when Tony said that to him, he was like, oh yeah? So like Tony kept pushing. He was like, let me let them know how you really feel.
Yeah, because I mean, if you have a connection with Morgan, I feel like that's something she should know.
And when Tony was like, yeah, I said it, I feel like it was a little like silent after that. Like he did try and like backtrack and recover, but like, yeah, I said it. Like he's just one of those people that's just gonna like dig in their heels. I'm not taking back any of my behavior. This is just how I am. But you know, that's just how I am, baby. I feel like he didn't come to her to apologize sooner because he was trying to think of how to clean it up instead of how to actually have a conversation with her. Whereas Linda was like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to throw you in the middle of that like that. I didn't mean for that to get that way. Like he owned his part of it and was like, I'm sorry. And I don't know how much I saw Tony around Morgan after that scene.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't too much more left, but then when they did open up again, they were all in the kitchen. She was sitting on the counter with Lyndon. They actually were taking pictures, them two with Blake.
And the next guy and his connections we'll discuss was Mark Anthony. So Mark Anthony and Mercedes in the car, like a couple, they were cute. Even when they were waiting to get on that swamp mobile, they were cute. And then on the thing, they get there, you just see him naturally gravitating towards her. Like they just have like a good flow. Yeah. I saw him a couple of times talking to Jeffrey, but he mostly was around Mercedes this whole time.
Yeah.
And so I feel like that kind of spoke for itself.
I don't have anything else with Mark Anthony. No.
Then up next, it was Anthony. And the biggest thing that stood out to me for Anthony was a conversation that he had with Sue-Ann.
Yeah, playing pool or whatever. That wasn't pool, whatever that is.
Was it shuffleboard?
Shuffleboard.
Yeah. So the thing that I loved was that there was a couple of things. What did you like? What did you take away from it?
It seemed like he was actually starting to like her a little bit more than he had portrayed at the beginning. And now he was in realization of that. And so he was trying to express that to her. And she was like pretty much too little too late. So,
that's what you got from their whole interaction playing shuffleboard?
And that they didn't know how to play shuffleboard.
Okay.
What'd you get?
I saw a couple of different things. So first of all, what I saw, I felt like Sue-Ann's dress was extremely dressy for the occasion. But then when I saw her wearing it at the dinner, I was like, oh, she was just dressed for dinner.
It's a swimsuit cover up.
Is that what that was?
Yeah.
She also had like a leather black skirt.
A leather skirt?
A black leather skirt.
Wow, I didn't see that. I saw, so I think I was thinking it was a cover up because you could see her top through it. And I just
yeah, I saw that too. And I was like, oh, she looks sexy. But then when they like panned to the side, the bottom was like different material. And it was like a black skirt, like a black leather skirt. And I was like, well, she's really dressed up. But then when they were having dinner, I noticed that was the same outfit. I was like, oh, maybe she just wore that for dinner. And she was like already dressed. But it did look like a cute swimsuit top with like a cute skirt. So what I got from that, leading up to that interaction and during that interaction, I echo what you said, like he realized he liked her. He was trying to convey that to her. But then even in a confessional, he said, Sue-Ann wants me to constantly affirm her. And so he was just like, I don't know how comfortable I feel like I'm going to have to constantly be validating what she wants me to say. And so when they were sitting there playing shuffleboard, she was still like, too little, too late. And he was like, thanks for letting me know that. I think that our interests are better served somewhere else.
Yeah, there's no point.
Yeah. So that's what I picked up that from that. That's what I got. Like, he was kind of like letting her down from that. I didn't see him really engaging with Mercedes.
No, because she's with Mark Anthony.
So then the next one was with Blake. Mm-hmm. Blake was with Sue-Ann the whole time. There's nobody else for him.
Right.
Nothing else stood out for me except for when he tried to diffuse the argument at the dinner table.
Yeah, he tried to. Yeah. Him and Anthony tried to.
Yeah. Yeah. And then the next one was Lyndon, and we kind of already talked about Lyndon as we were talking about Tony. His whole interaction was Morgan. The only other thing that I noticed with Lyndon is that he was talking with Mercedes, and he was like, yeah, me and Mercedes are straight friend zone. So in thinking about which lady he would put up on the chopping block to send home, he was like, it's Mercedes for me, you know?
Yeah.
And then Andre. And so I think Andre seems to still like Mercedes, but also realizes like she's not his person. So I feel like there was like some flirtation going on between them when they were talking about the rooms.
Yeah, but he's still not over being friend zoned by her, I don't think.
I don't think so either. Because then when they first walked out onto the patio and like Mercedes was taking in that whole house. I loved how she was exploring that house. She was like up there on the deck where like the hot tub was, and Andre was like twerk, twerk, and like she turned around and started popping it. I was just like, so Lyndon was making drinks, as I was like, as he should, as the bar manager. And Andre mostly spent his time with Jeffrey. They had a beautiful moment in the hot tub.
They did. You know, I don't think, I was like, man, none of these women are swimming.
Are you surprised?
But I think Mercedes, I think she may have swim, but I think nobody got their hair wet.
Of course not.
Yeah. But Jeffrey went ahead and got in that hot tub with that full pants on. I was like, when you come out here to get in the hot tub, why didn't you put on bottoms anyway?
I don't know if that was the thing. I think they were just like, because they were already outside. It was after the dinner. I think they were just like out there. And then she was like, oh, the hot tub. So let me just put my feet in. We can sit over here. Then Andre's behind just got all the way in it. And she was just like, he's too far away from me. And she was like, let me just get in.
Mm-hmm. She said she didn't play.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But I love them together. It just seems like just so like natural.
It does.
But he did, Andre did spend some time on the couch with Cynthia.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think about that?
I thought it was interesting that she was saying that she does have a connection with Andre. She likes Andre, but she feels like she opens up more to Anthony. Like she doesn't open up with Andre the way she does with Anthony. Mm-hmm. So that's really telling.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I think it's like kind of like what we were saying. I think Morgan and Tony are a better match, even though they're not healthy, like a healthy match. I think Mark Anthony and Mercedes are a good match. Anthony and Cynthia, Andre and Jeffrey, and then Blake and Sue-Ann.
Yeah.
But yeah.
No, it took some time to get to the place that you wanted me to be. Oh, but I'm ready. I'm ready to
run. So then Tommy told them to pick the woman that they want to send home because they're all going to still stay there. And they put up Sue-Ann and Mercedes. And then we had a cliffhanger.
Cliffhanger. But is it really though? Is it Arnold Schwarzenegger? That's not him. Is it Sylvester Stallone hanging off the side of the building and we're waiting?
Was that Sylvester Stallone? That wasn't Bruce Willis? In Cliffhanger?
Sylvester Stallone.
Is it?
Sylvester Stallone.
So, when they put up that elimination prospects, I was like, oh, good, get Suanne out of here so Blake can go home.
Please.
Because at this point, who's keeping her? I mean, for Mercedes, Anthony and Mark Anthony supposedly like her. So she's got two that may keep her. Only person got Suanne is Blake.
I think Suanne's out of here.
Yeah.
Long princess wig and all.
Because I feel like even if there weren't that many love interests for Mercedes, people just like her.
Yeah, they do.
And multiple of the guys have said that Suanne doesn't even give them the time of day. Like she doesn't even like engage. Like Lyndon, he was like, she won't even like engage with me. She just decided. I think Lyndon and Mark Anthony both were like, she's like, she decided we weren't good enough for her to even talk to, and so she doesn't even talk to us. Which I was just like, Suanne, everybody out here has better personalities than Blake. You can't even talk to other people.
Right. You have to open your eyes to something else.
Yeah.
I really have to go.
So, we'll see who gets eliminated on the next episode. And we just want to say thank you for watching. Please like, subscribe, and comment, and we'll see you in the next one.
Pew, 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 pew.
Okay. All right.